David and I met in high school. Our relationship blossomed. We were engaged by the time we were 19 and married at 21. And then we had our 3 kids, starting with Charlotte when I was 26. Yeah, we were living the dream. Everyone who met David liked him. He was just charismatic and he was intelligent, he was funny, and he was my best friend. It was a week before Christmas and 2 weeks before I was due to have our 3rd baby. And we were walking into his parents' house and he put his hand under his arm and he said to me, "Jen, I've got a lump under my arm." On the 28th of December, after they'd done all the biopsies, they told us it was melanoma. A family friend told us we needed to come and see Georgina Long at Melanoma Institute, and they removed the tumour from under his arm. But unfortunately, about 6 weeks later, while we were doing radiotherapy, another small lump came up and they found another spot on his hip, and that put David as stage 4. David's disease progressed at an amazing rate, and what it did to his body was beyond comprehension unless you've actually witnessed it. He went from a young 33-year-old man who was strong and fit to not being able to get out of bed, to not being able to walk. He was very worried about our kids, our little girls, and even when I finally told him that the journey was over, he just closed his eyes and said, "My poor, poor babies." When we started treatment, I decided to start a blog documenting what we were going through, and now when I go back and I look at it, it's a nice treasure of David's final few months and how hard we fought, and something for our kids to look at one day and see what their dad was like. Throughout the journey, David formed quite a strong relationship with Anesh. She was the one who would visit him daily on the ward.
So I met David in one of our clinics with Professor Georgina Long. So David was one of our patients. So super progressors are patients who they don't respond, but they increase the rate of progression. We have a subgroup of patients where the rate of progression is incredibly high, and I believe that those patients are different.
After David died, Anesh, Dr. De Silva, contacted me to say how touched she was by meeting David and how inspired she was because he was such a strong, positive person.
And we did everything, and it was not possible to help him. That's really, really sad. That's hard. That's really hard. Definitely when David died, I felt that my work was not done. So my goal is definitely try to understand some of the mechanisms of resistance, to try to come up with new therapeutic strategies to be able to help. Even if I just help one David day, for me would be enough. Yeah.
It is so important that we raise awareness and that we find a solution to this.
One melanoma patient died every 5 hours, which I think is extremely sad, and that explains why we need to find those answers. I'm not sure we have time to wait. That's exactly what drives me every day to the lab and try to get those answers as quick as possible. Yeah.
We need that answer for everyone, so that everyone can watch their kids grow up, so that they don't lose that opportunity, so that little kids aren't growing up without their dad or their mum.